What's up, guys? Welcome to Tool World. Thanks for jumping in. I'm your host, Mr. Jew, and I'm here with Master Jew.
Hello there, Mr. Jew.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going good. Anyways, we got a great episode. We've been discussing about pressing block with the palm.
Palm pressing block.
Palm pressing block. So, we're going to cover a couple things today. Why don't we start with
What is a
application?
pressing block?
Well, let's start with what is a pressing block.
Pressing block. What is it? You want to go for that?
Any technique that goes below the belt.
Basically, right. And techniques that are going straight down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pressing blocks. So pressing blocks are in general. We have different tools, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pressing blocks with the X fist, pressing block with the palm, pressing block with the forefist.
Right.
And we see those in different patterns.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's true. But I think pressing block with the palm is a little interesting one because we're utilizing both hands in different directions.
Right.
And why would we be doing that? Usually, it's going to be done with two opponents.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if you do it with your left leg forward and left hand down, or left leg forward, right hand down.
Right. And we do see that in two different patterns, like Gaebaek, right hands down, left hands up. Tong Il is, I believe, the only pattern that has the pressing block with the left leg forward, left hand down, and vice versa, right? So it's different. So most of the pressing blocks we see in patterns are left leg forward, right hands down, or right leg forward, left hands down.
Right.
Right? Taegye. No, not Taegye. Gwanggae. Right? Mu.
Yeah.
Right.
So what would be some common uses for this technique?
Well, I think that the application, the common use for it, that's generally the pressing block is a technique that's coming to the low section of the body, and basically that would be mostly like the front snap kick. So you're intercepting that front snap kick. Because it is two people, it's basically when your opponent is slightly off to the side, so not directly in front, and the other person is kind of next to each other, right?
Yeah.
And they might be executing a punch, any kind of attack that's maybe closer to the midsection of the body.
Right.
So where is the hands position, Mr. Jew? As far as the upward block, where does it end up being? Pressing block, where is that? The palm that's going down, where does that end up being positioned?
From my understanding, the upward block portion of it should end up around the solar plexus.
Right.
And then that would work really nicely for a forefist punch or a side piercing kick.
Right.
Anything that's a little bit higher. Now, the lower section of the block is going to be belt level.
Right, because it's coming to the low section. Low section is basically belt level or the belly button level or umbilicus level, right?
Yeah.
So that attack in that section of the body.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I found interesting, and the reason I wanted to bring this up in this video, is how I have been executing the technique incorrectly. I think it's a common thing that when you block, you don't have the fingertips pointing towards your opponent. For example, like if someone's doing a front snap kick, you don't block with the fingertips going forward because you're gonna
get that finger
you're
jam.
gonna get the finger jam. However, I think when I was doing it, I was turning the hand too much. In reality, the hand should almost be more parallel with the lower block being turned in at a slight angle.
Right. And I think a large part of it is because you're not using that technique against a single opponent directly in front of you. Well, again, the palm pressing block is most of the application we see is two opponents, right? So they're not directly in front, one slightly at an angle, one slightly to your right or one slightly to your left. And so the fingertip does have to can be forward, but you're looking at, let's say I'm blocking my right hand, the person that is on your right, the fingertips are not pointed at them.
Yeah.
But slight angle, maybe.
Slight angle, right.
But it's different for the upward part, right?
Right.
Because that technique is a little different. It's more of a deflection, where you're redirecting a technique that's coming at you.
Right.
What do you think of that idea where in Tongil, I know you haven't gotten to that pattern, but in Tongil, if your left leg's forward, the left hand is down and the right hand is up.
Right.
Right? And so that seems kind of weird, doesn't it? Because that left leg is kind of in the way, isn't it? If someone's doing a front snap kick, that means that kick has kind of, well, the arm is extended maybe, I don't know, 45-degree angle out forward. It's not like it's super close.
Right.
So some students, they do it too close.
Right.
Where you have to actually extend that out a little bit more, right? Kind of a dodging kind of situation.
Right.
But that means that if it's a front snap kick, isn't that left leg a little bit too close for that kick to come up in that direction? Unless that kick is coming up, clearing the front leg, coming straight forward towards your body.
Right.
What's your thoughts?
My thoughts? Well,
that's how you're supposed to do front snap kick, isn't it? It's not really been an upward motion. I mean, it is an upward motion, but
most of the techniques are kind of designed to have you have more space in between you and your opponent. So, like, let's say someone puts up their kick onto your body, like, as a measurement. I mean, by that point, it's a little too late. So you'd have to step back and block.
Right. So, I mean, no one throws, well, we do. We throw techniques and we don't hit our opponent, but no one really intentionally throws technique not trying to hit you. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe that's a setup, or maybe that's someone inexperienced, but the goal is to hit your opponent.
Yeah.
And so the technique has to be reachable. And so if you think about like a mid-side block, if they were to hit me, I would actually just step back. That's the self-defense, is I just moved away as dodging, and then I use my arm to push it out of the way. Or is it really to break maybe their arm? Yeah. Because you should execute the block in a manner to where you would want to break it, not just to push it out of the way, but to break it.
Right.
So I think your point is valid. Okay. Well, here's another question. So most of the pressing blocks are performed in a slow motion, but not all of them. What's the pattern that's not in slow motion?
Moon moo.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. 1, 2. Which is probably the normal way we would do that.
Yeah.
You would never do a slow motion. Oh, here comes a kick.
Yeah.
But we do practice that particular technique in a slow motion.
Why?
Why?
I think that it's probably because it's a very difficult technique. To move both your hands in opposite directions and having them be very equal at the same time, right? Because there's a lot of equalness to the technique. That is just a really good exercise to practice using both hands.
Right. Slow motion, I think we should still apply the training secrets of Taekwondo, right? And that means it accelerates from a slow speed to a maximum speed. And even though we don't perform it really fast, it's done slow, we should still perform it slow, faster. It's just not as explosive fast. And so I think that when we practice slow motion from a self-defense point of view, probably isn't really that, we would never do it that way.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, like you were saying, to help us coordinate the eyes, hands, feet, breath together at the same time. The body movements working together through the motion. Right.
All right. Well, let us know your thoughts on the pressing block with the palm. We'd be very interested into hearing your questions and comments about it. Anything else there, Master Drew?
Nope. Like us on our Facebook fan page and check us out on our podcast.
All right. And we'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to be safe,
keep training,
and have a great week.